Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 Truth to Sports coming to you with another segment. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is a segment that I do after each game of the Colorado Buffs. It's called What I Learned About Coach Prime's coaching staff and the win over Arizona where they won 34-7. Let's get right into some of the notes. Well, Colorado did show that they can dominate a game and a team from beginning to end. We've been seeing them get better and better week by week. I have to give them credit. They can put a team into submission early because this game was basically over in the first quarter. Definitely by the first half, the game was basically over. The team just kind of coasted after that. One thing that did happen early was Arizona did try an onside kick on the first play of the game on the kickoff, which turned into the first score of the game for Colorado because they took the ball, I think, around the 50-yard line and took it right down for a touchdown. Um, the one thing about the onside kick told me, Coach Prime thought it was disrespectful. I actually thought it was respectful. I think that what they did with this early onside kick is they was basically saying we can't hang with you all through all of our injuries, all these coaching changes we've had. We don't think we can keep up with you scoring wise, so we need to steal a possession, early. That's how I took it. So I actually thought it was a sign of respect. Um, Number 26, Hood did recover that onside kick, so kudos to him for paying attention. First kick of the game, most of the guys are running backwards, which is why you try an onside kick, but he was obviously paying attention and he went after the ball and he got on top of it, so congratulations to him. There was a moment early in the game, it was around the 6 minute mark, and I'll talk about it later, where Travis was getting ready to get substituted out of the game and he tried to wave the guy off. And then the next shot they showed was Coach Prime was having a long talk with him, and then of course he ended up not playing the second half. And I saw that early. I don't know if you all saw it, but he did not want to come out the game early. I think they saw what I saw. He couldn't lift his arm up. It wasn't smart for him to be playing. And I'm gonna do a whole segment on that. The defense had another dominant game. Congratulations to them. And Travis did not play past halftime. So let me go ahead and get right into it with the offense. If you all are familiar with how I do this, then you can follow along, pretty easily. But the offense, which is led by Pert Shermer and Coach Loadholt. Again, it looked like Sherman had more control over the offense because it was a 35-23 run to pass ratio, which is excellent for them. It does make a difference. This actually looked like a run heavy offense, which we all know they are not run heavy, but it looked like that. And it was always good to see them do that because, as we all know, when they do that, they look very hard to beat. But the run heavy made them look very dominant on offense early. Shador was sacked only one time. So you have to give praise to that offensive line. Everybody's looking forward to putting them down, but you got to, those guys are playing good ball. To only be sacked one time in the college game is hard, any game. The offense was off to a fast start because of them scoring on the first possession of the game from the onside kick. So that's, good to them. So they put heat on them early. They got the ball around the 50, and of course, with Shador in that offense, it took them no time to go down and score. They ran the ball, even though they weren't getting a lot of yards per se. They normally would give up on the rush when they do that. This time they stayed committed to it, and it made a difference. It kept pressure on that defensive line, that defensive core. Shador did have two interceptions and a fumble, which is very rare for him. So it's not really, he doesn't have a problem with either or, but nobody's perfect. By halftime, the offense had produced 28 points. The last game was against Kansas State that had only produced 7 points by halftime. So for the game, Shador went 23 or 33 for 250 yards, two touchdowns, two interceptions, and one fumble. They did get 155 rush yards. So I give the O line an A. They dominated the run and they protected very well. Let's get to the next section, the running backs, which is coached by Coach Gary Harrell or Coach Flea. I did a segment after the Colorado State game. You can look down my under my segments, and they was talking about basically I titled it Coach Flea, please fight for your running backs room. Because if you don't fight for those running backs to get carries, you're going to have new running backs every year. They don't have to stay around. They don't have to wait. They're 3 and 4 years. They can just leave. Last game they got 19 carries. This game the running backs went 25 carries for 155 yards, which was excellent. They did, I think it was three of them. Three guys got 50. No, two guys got 50. Well, let me go ahead and get to it. The leading rush was Augusta. He went 14 carries for 53 yards and 1 touchdown. Charlie went for 7 carries for 53 yards. He had a 7.6 average. There was one rushing touchdown by Shador, so that's where one of the rushing touchdowns came from. The running backs finally had another presence in the game. This is their second game where they had a very good presence with 35 rushes overall when you include Shador. So this is the second time in a couple of years where they had more rushes than passes. The rushing game did produce 155 yards with 2 touchdowns. So I give the running backs for this production, I give them a B for the production that they had. So I was happy for them. I thought Charlie was redshirting, but maybe I got that mixed up. So let me move on to the wide receivers. I don't like to keep you all too long, which is led by Jason Phillips. We all know that receivers are the probably the most productive unit on the field for them. The receivers look very good, very productive as they always do. LaJohntay Wester led the receivers again with 8 catches for 127 yards. He had a 15.9 average per catch. Shepard and Miller both had touchdowns for them. Shador hit 9 different receivers. I think last week he hit 10 different receivers. Will Shepard caught his third touchdown in the last 3 weeks, which is great for him. They outperformed the Baylor receivers. Colorado had 23 catches for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Arizona had 16 catches for 138 yards and 1 touchdown. And I was looking more from the receiving core. They got one guy, I forgot his name. Everybody know who he is. I should have wrote his name down. But he was obviously a pro prospect, and I thought we'd see a lot more out of him. But they don't have enough. They don't look like a very good team right now. And they started the preseason ranked actually. So with the receivers producing 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, the receiving room looked great again. They looked explosive, so I give them an A. The defense, get into the defense part. The defense is led by Coach Vincent, Coach Lewis, Coach Livingston, Coach Hart, and Coach Mathis. The defense looked good. They looked very effective. They were very dominant. Number 27, Wade had 2 sacks. He started it off in the first quarter with an early sack, and the defense took off after that. Number 41, Green, was hitting hard, and not only did I see it, the announcers even talked about it. The commentators were talking about it. So 41 Green was hitting hard. 35 B.J. Green looked very good. He had a sack that caused a fumble that number 20 Bentley was able to recover. And Green also made another great play. They was Arizona caught the defense off guard and tried to throw a screen, and basically B.J. Green, blew it up by himself. And I thought that was a great play and one to talk about. Number 93 Samuel recorded 2 sacks. Number 53 Walker had a sack. Number 27 Wade had 2 sacks. Number 3 Colton Hood had a interception late in the game. I think it was in the fourth quarter where it was a 36-yard return, 36 or 46-yard return. I'm sorry, and I actually write this stuff down. 46 yards return. The defense gave up 0 points in the second half. So listen to these numbers I'm gonna give you. Against North Dakota State, they gave up 6 points in the second half. Nebraska 0 points in the second half. Colorado State 6 points. Baylor 7 points. UCF 7 points. Kansas State 17 points. Arizona 0 points. So they've only given up 36 second half points for the season, which is excellent. That has to be one of the top of the nations. And I looked that up, maybe do a segment on that. So for the game, they only gave up 250 yards, 155 rushing yards, one rushing TD and one passing TD. So I give that defense an A. They just look excellent. They look dominant. And actually, they made the game boring. Because I watched the Colorado games from beginning to end, and they made sure that it was never a contest. They made sure that the opposing team, Arizona, knew or make sure they would not be coming back. So let's get into the kicking game or the special teams. Matter looked excellent. And field goals, he went 2 for 2. He went 4 for 4 with extra points. 34 yards was his longest kick. He did score 10 points for the team, which is excellent for a kicker. He was also named the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week, so congratulations to him. They also finally got a decent punt return, this time for 34 yards. And that was happening. Jimmy Horn did that because I've been calling for some type of return with all the speed that they have back there. So I give them an A. The kicking game and the special teams have been bad for them, but I give them an A mostly because of Mata, who contributed 10 points and didn't miss a field goal or an extra point. So I get right into my players of the game. Mata, Amada, I'm sorry, who looked good with the field goals, as I just said, went 2 for 2 in the field goals, 4 for 4 in the extra points. 34 was his longest kick. He did score 10 points for his team. He was also named Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. Congratulations to him. Number 35, BJ Green looked very good. He had a sack that caused a fumble. LaJohntay Wester led the receivers again with 8 catches for 127 yards. Number 93, Samuel recorded 2 sacks. Number 3, Colton Hood had an interception and a 46-yard return. And then number 6, the defense as a whole and the defensive coaches, their adjustments that they make after halftime is just excellent and is well done. For them to only give up 0 points in the second half needs to be commended. So I named 6 players of the game: Mata, B.J. Green, LaJohntay Wester, number 93 Samuel, number 3 Colton Hood, and the defense and the defensive coaches. So this was a great dominant win. This makes me think that these guys can really fight for the Big 12 title and to be in the top 3 of that conference, and just see what can happen from there. And they definitely look like a bold team. So that's been my take on the win against Arizona. It's been Hunt 919, Truth to Sports. Ride with me.